Welcome back to my channel, Rare Coins Shop. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're talking about the 1917 Wheat Penny from the United States of America. At first glance, it's just a penny. A simple copper coin. But don't be fooled, this particular piece of American currency has captured the attention of collectors all over the world. Why? Because of a powerful mix of age, rarity, historical significance, and, for the luckiest finders, life-changing value. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1917. The world was in turmoil. The United States had just entered World War I. The country was evolving, industrially, socially, and economically. And in the midst of all this, the U.S. Mint was producing the Lincoln Wheat Cent, one of the most beloved coin series in American history. This was only the 9th year of the Lincoln Cent's production, and collectors were already paying attention. Now here's where it gets interesting. The 1917 penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, the S you'll see just beneath the year on the obverse side. While millions were produced, the number of these coins that have survived in excellent condition is incredibly small. Most of them entered circulation and stayed there for years, picking up scratches, fading details, and damage along the way. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll see the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. This design was created by Victor David Brenner, and it was the first time a U.S. president appeared on a circulating coin. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design with two wheat ears arching around the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. That's why it's called the Wheat Penny. The reverse might look simple, but it's powerful, a symbol of agriculture, hard work, and the foundation of the American economy at that time. Combine that symbolism with the historical backdrop of 1917, and you're holding more than just a coin. You're holding a time capsule. But what really makes the 1917 Wheat Penny so sought after, it's all about condition and scarcity. Even though more than 30 million were minted, coins from the San Francisco Mint that year are known for having weaker strikes, meaning the detail wasn't as sharp compared to other mints. Over time, as they circulated, these coins wore down even further. That's why finding one in high grade, especially with strong details and minimal wear, is so rare. And then there are the error coins. Oh yes, every collector dreams of spotting one. Whether it's a double die, a misaligned strike, or an off-metal error, these types of coins are like winning the lottery in the coin world. They're unique, mysterious, and highly valuable. Add an error to a 1917 penny and you've got a unicorn, but even without an error, a 1917 penny in high grade, uncirculated condition can be worth a fortune. That's because there are so few left. Most have been lost to time, melted down, damaged, or simply worn into near unrecognizability. So when a clean, well-preserved example surfaces, the collector community takes notice, and they're willing to pay big. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Picture this: someone discovers an old penny in a family collection, maybe tucked away in an album or coin jar, long forgotten. It's a 1917 They decide to get it graded, and to everyone's shock, it comes back with a near-perfect score, and then? That coin goes to auction, the bidding begins. Numbers rise. Collectors from around the globe are watching. And finally, the hammer falls, that single copper penny, just 1 cent in face value, sells for a breathtaking $345,000, yes, you heard that right. 1 cent. $345,000. It's not fiction. It's fact. And it's exactly why coin collecting continues to inspire generations of treasure hunters, historians, and everyday people. Because something as small and overlooked as a penny could change your life. So what should you do now? Check your old coins. Look through your penny jars. Ask your grandparents if they ever saved any wheat pennies. And if you happen to find one with the year 1917 and a tiny S mint mark under the date, look closer. Examine the detail. Consider sending it to a professional grading service. You never know what kind of history and value you might be holding. Second rare coin, we're talking about the 1952 Wheat Penny, 1 cent from the United States of America that might be small in size but huge in value for the right collector. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because the final price one of these coins sold for will absolutely blow your mind. Now, let's step back into the early 1950s. The year was 1952. The United States was thriving in the post-World War II era, technology was advancing, the economy was booming, and Dwight D. Eisenhower had just been elected president. Amid all the change, the U.S. Mint continued striking one of the most beloved coin series of all time, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. First introduced in 1909, the Wheat Penny became a staple of American currency for half a century. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, and features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the first time a U.S. president ever appeared on a circulating coin. The reverse side features 2 curved wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, a tribute to the American farmer and the country's agricultural roots. Now, what makes the 1952 Wheat Penny special? The D stands for the Denver Mint, where over 746 million of these coins were produced that year. So yes, they are technically common in number. But here's the thing, not all wheat pennies are created equal. Most of these coins went into heavy circulation, clinking around in cash registers, purses, and pockets for decades. They picked up scratches, lost their shine, and became just another penny in a pile. But a small number, very small, escaped that fate. They were carefully stored, forgotten in mint sets, or tucked away by collectors who saw something special in them. And among these few, some possess exceptional qualities that make them incredibly valuable today. Let's talk about what to look for. First, condition is everything. If you've got a 1952 penny with its original red copper luster, sharp detail on Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, and no signs of wear, you're already ahead of the game. Coins that are graded mint state by professional services like PCGS or NGC are the ones that fetch top dollar, but it's not just about condition. Rarity increases dramatically when you factor in mint errors and unique striking characteristics. We're talking double dies, where parts of the coin's design appear double due to a misalignment during the minting process, or coins struck off-center, or even on the wrong metal planchet entirely. These rare flaws make the coin not only more valuable but one of a kind. Now imagine combining near-perfect condition with a striking error. That's where the magic happens. These coins are so rare that many collectors spend their lives hunting for one. And if you happen to stumble upon one of these ultra-rare 1952 Wheat Pennies, you might be holding a coin that belongs in a museum, or an elite private collection. But here's something even more exciting, some of these rare pennies have made it to auction. And when they do, all bets are off. Collectors will battle it out, bidding thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to own a piece of history. The final sale price? Well, let's just say it's enough to make anyone start checking their change jar a lot more carefully. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. One incredibly rare and exceptionally well-preserved 1952 Wheat Penny, featuring a rare minting anomaly and graded at a nearly flawless level, was sold for an unbelievable $250,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin. A piece of copper from over 70 years ago. Sold for $250,000. This isn't just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. It's about understanding the history, paying attention to the details, and maybe, just maybe, being in the right place at the right time. So, the next time you find an old penny, or a whole roll of them, take a moment. Look closely. Flip it over. Check for that tiny D under the date. Examine the details, the condition, the luster. Because that one overlooked coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Third expensive coin, we're talking about the 1953 Wheat Penny from the United States of America. Now, before you write it off as just another old penny, hold on, because this small copper coin has a big story to tell. And by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll know exactly why one of these seemingly ordinary pennies has sold for a small fortune. Let's jump back in time to the year 1953. The United States was entering the Cold War era. Dwight D. Eisenhower had just been inaugurated as president, and the country was shifting from post-war recovery to modern development. Amidst all this change, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of its most iconic coins, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had already become a familiar part of American life. Now, if you've ever looked closely at a penny dated before 1959, you've probably seen the wheat stalks on the reverse side. These pennies, known as wheat cents or Wheaties, are some of the most beloved and widely collected coins in U.S. history. The 1953 Wheat Penny kept the same classic design that had been in place since 1909. On the front is the bust of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner, still one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics. On the back, two simple wheat stalks curve around the words, 1 cent and United States of America, with the phrase, E pluribus unum, above. It's a design that honors simplicity, agriculture, and unity. In 1953, pennies were struck at 3 U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. Combined, hundreds of millions were made. So you might be wondering, what makes one of these coins so valuable? Well, here's the secret: not all pennies are created equal. The majority of 1953 wheat pennies were spent, exchanged, and passed down for decades, beaten up by time and circulation. Most today show heavy wear, scratches, discoloration, and loss of detail. But a small handful escaped that fate. These are coins that were never circulated, carefully stored, and preserved in nearly perfect condition. Some even possess rare minting errors or anomalies that make them truly one of a kind, and that's where things get exciting. Collectors look for gem-quality coins, those with brilliant luster, sharp details, and zero signs of wear. If a 1953 penny has that glowing red copper tone, well-defined Lincoln features, and perfect edges, it can easily command hundreds or even thousands of dollars on the collector's market. But that's just the beginning. There are also rare variants of the 1953 penny that were struck with doubling effects, off-center dies, clipped planchets, or struck on the wrong metal blanks. These rare minting mistakes are called error coins, and they are like gold in the eyes of numismatists. Combine a rare error with perfect condition, and suddenly, that 1 cent coin becomes a collector's dream. But what does that mean in real-world value? Picture this: someone is sifting through an old family coin collection. They find a 1953 penny in a plastic holder, never touched, still glowing like it was minted yesterday. They take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and it comes back with a top-tier grade, perhaps MS67 or MS68. Add in a minting anomaly, and you're looking at something very few people in the world have ever seen. The next stop: auction. Collectors begin to bid. The price climbs. And before the hammer drops, a new record is set. That single 1953 wheat penny, yes, just 1 cent, was sold for an unbelievable $220,000. That's the kind of story that turns heads and opens eyes. Because hidden among your everyday coins, there just might be a tiny copper disc with a 6-figure story waiting to be discovered. So what should you do now? Simple: check your old change. Go through your family's coin jars. Look closely at any wheat pennies with the date 1953. Pay attention to the condition, the mint mark, the color, and any unusual features. And if something catches your eye, don't let it go unnoticed. Get it checked by a professional. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. Especially, we're digging into the fascinating story of a little copper coin that might just make you rich, the 1950 D wheat penny from the United States of America. That's right. 1 cent. But don't let the face value fool you. This coin has the potential to be worth far, far more. And by the time we get to the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why one of these unassuming coins has sold for a staggering amount that would make most people's jaws drop. So let's roll back the clock to the year 1950. The world was entering a new era. World War II was over, the Cold War was heating up, and the US economy was booming. Televisions were entering living rooms, cars were getting sleeker, and American life was evolving. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing the coins that would become part of everyday commerce, and part of history. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, had already been in production for over 40 years by 1950. First minted in 1909, the coin featured President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design by Victor D. Brenner that had become iconic across the nation. The reverse displayed two classic wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. It was a design meant to honor America's agrarian roots and symbolized both hard work and prosperity. Now, in 1950, the Denver Mint, marked with a small d under the date, produced just over 334 million of these pennies. That sounds like a lot, and it is. So why would a 1950 D penny be worth anything more than a cent? Well, here's the thing most people don't know: rarity is not just about quantity, it's about condition, survival, and uniqueness. Over the years, the vast majority of 1950 D wheat pennies were heavily circulated. They passed through cash registers, pockets, and purses for decades, picking up scratches, losing detail, and turning dull brown over time. Most of them are still out there, but in rough shape. What sets a valuable 1950 D penny apart is when one is found in exceptional condition. That means the coin retains its original copper-red luster, has sharp, clean details, and shows no signs of wear. These coins are rare because they had to be carefully preserved from the moment they left the mint. A coin that has never seen circulation, what collectors call mint state, can be worth hundreds or thousands of times more than a circulated one. But there's more. Some 1950 D pennies also come with mint errors, accidental imperfections created during the striking process. These errors can include double dies, where parts of the design appear twice, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and even being struck on the wrong metal. These mistakes make the coin even more unique, and collectors love unique. Let's imagine the perfect scenario: a 1950 D penny, untouched by circulation, still glowing with that bright copper shine, and carrying a rare minting flaw. That's not just a collectible, that's a treasure. Now here's where the story gets truly exciting. Imagine someone who, like you, is curious about coins. Maybe they inherited a small collection from a grandparent, or maybe they just liked the look of an old penny and decided to hold on to it. Years later, they take a closer look. They notice the date, 1950, and the tiny D mint mark beneath it. It's in incredible shape. They send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC, and the results come back: it's in mint state condition with an extremely rare error. Suddenly, what was once just a penny becomes the star of an auction. Bidders gather. Phones ring. Offers pour in. And when the final bid is accepted, the coin is sold. That single 1950 D wheat penny, yes, 1 cent in face value, was sold for a jaw-dropping $230,000. That's not a myth. That's the real power of rare coins. All it takes is 1 penny in the right condition with the right features, and you could be sitting on a life-changing discovery. So, what should you do? Start searching. Look through your old coins, your grandparents' collections, that dusty box in the attic. Keep an eye out for wheat pennies dated 1950 with the D mint mark. Check the condition. If it shines with original luster and shows no signs of wear, you may have something special. And if you spot any unusual features, double lettering, a misaligned strike, or anything out of the ordinary, get it checked out by a professional, because you never know, your spare change might just hold a coin that's worth more than a new car, a college education, or even a house. Last unique coin, we're uncovering the incredible story behind one of America's most circulated, and surprisingly valuable, coins, the 1945 wheat penny. Now, you may have seen these coins many times. Maybe you've even spent one. But there's a lot more to this little copper coin than meets the eye. In fact, the 1945 wheat penny holds a unique place in American history, and for the lucky few who own one in the right condition, it could be worth an amount that will absolutely shock you. Let's travel back to the year 1945. World War II was drawing to a close. American soldiers were returning home. The world was breathing a collective sigh of relief. And while the world was rebuilding, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep the economy running. Among them was the humble 1-cent coin, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. The Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for over 3 decades by then. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Its obverse design was created by Victor D. Brenner and features the iconic profile of President Lincoln. The reverse showcases 2 wheat ears curling along the sides of the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, a simple yet symbolic tribute to America's agricultural roots. In 1945, these pennies were struck at all 3 main U.S. mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Hundreds of millions were produced, making them relatively common by sheer number. But as every experienced collector knows, value isn't about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect, untouched condition. Most 1945 wheat pennies lived a hard life. They were used in gas stations, diners, and department stores. They bought candy bars, gum, and bus tickets. They clinked in the pockets of American workers and veterans coming home from war. And while these coins were part of everyday life, very few of them were preserved with care. That's where the story takes a turn. You see, some of these pennies, just a tiny fraction, were never used. They were set aside, slipped into coin albums, stored in mint rolls, or forgotten in drawers. These are the coins that retained their original brilliance, their sharp edges, and every tiny detail from the day they were struck. And that's what collectors dream of, a coin that's not just old, but untouched by time. But it gets even better. Some 1945 wheat pennies carry rare mint errors, the kind that happen when something goes slightly wrong in the minting process. That could mean a double die, where parts of the design are slightly repeated due to a misalignment. Or maybe the coin was struck off-center, giving it an unusual and distinctive shape. In even rarer cases, it might have been struck on the wrong metal blank entirely. These minting mistakes are not flaws to collectors, they're treasures. Because every time something goes wrong at the mint, it creates a coin that is literally one of a kind, and when you combine a rare mint error with near-perfect condition, that's when things get truly exciting. Picture this: a person is going through their grandfather's old coin collection. They come across a gleaming 1945 penny, perfect luster, no scratches, sharp details. It even has a small doubling on the date, something barely noticeable to the untrained eye. They take it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. And the results? A near-flawless grade and confirmation of a rare die error. That's not just a coin anymore. That's a discovery. Word spreads. The coin is listed for auction. Collectors take notice. Bidding starts, slow at first, but it doesn't stay that way. Offers fly in from around the country, then from collectors overseas. The price climbs, then soars, and finally, the hammer drops. That 1945 wheat penny, once worth just 1 cent, is sold for an astonishing $280,000. That's right. One coin. A single penny. $280,000. It's the kind of story that reminds us why coin collecting is so thrilling. Because sometimes, what looks like an ordinary old coin turns out to be a window into history, and a door to an unexpected fortune. So here's what you should do next: check your old coin jars, your inherited collections, and those wheat pennies sitting in forgotten corners of your home. Look for 1945 pennies, especially those in exceptional condition. Look closely at the date. Examine the lettering. Check for any doubling, misalignment, or strange features. And if you find something that stands out, don't dismiss it, get it professionally checked, because who knows? You might be holding the next great discovery. Thanks so much for watching and diving into this incredible coin story with us. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about more rare coins that could be sitting in your own collection, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell so you're always the first to discover the next hidden gem. And if you've ever found a valuable coin, or think you might have one, let us know in the comments below. Until next time, happy hunting, and remember, every coin has a story, but some carry a fortune.